Okay, today guys, we're still writing equations in vertex form. Now, if you'll look at this equation that's in standard form, the difference now is that I've got a 2 as a coefficient, and that 2, we call those coefficients, is in front of the x squared term. Okay, so that's my A, 24 is my B, and negative 13 is my C. Now, we talked about yesterday, working with the B was very important into writing into vertex form, and it still is. But what we're going to have to do before we can even begin to work with B, I want you to rewrite your equation and group things accordingly. So I'm going to start to rewrite it, and I'm going to keep 2x squared plus 24x grouped over here, and then I'll group my minus 13 over here. And so I'm grouping it like this for a reason, and the reason that I'm grouping it like that is to let me know there's some things that I have to do before I can get started on this one. Okay, there's just a couple more steps here. Now, you'll see that I have a 2 out in front of my x to the second power, and so I don't want to really complete the square with this, like with the 2 and the 24. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 2 out by factoring, and when I do, I'm dividing everything in the middle by 2. So I'm going to have 2 over 2 x to the second power plus 24 divided by 2, and then x. I'm going to do that just like that. And the reason I'm doing this is it allows me to factor out everything. And then I still have my minus 13 that's over here. But what happens to my 2's? They cancel out, and my 24 divided by 2 cancels out. And now I'm left with 2. And then on the inside, I'm going to have x to the second power plus 12x. And I still have my minus 13 sitting over there. Now, the reason that's important is we want to use this as my value of B, not the 24 that I started with. Okay? So I'm going to treat this 12 as my B, and I'm going to come over here. And if B is equal to 12, I've got to do 1/2 of B. What's 1/2 of B? Well, that's 6. Okay, and so that tells me that there's something that I've got to square. And what is the number that I'm going to square? I've got to square this 6. And when I square it, I get 36. Okay, so that tells me in the parentheses that I'm adding a 36 inside of the parentheses. So I add plus 36, but here's where things get tricky. Remember this 2 that we started with. Okay, remember that 2 right there? We have to not forget about the 2. And now, yesterday, what did you do with that plus 36? You would have minused it on the outside. Okay? But you also have to remember that because this 2 was right here, you have to multiply it times this 36. So it's going to be minus 36 times 2. And so now, here is what your final, your next step on your equation is going to look like this. Hoping everybody can see that. Now, when you start to simplify numbers, the k is going to be minus 85. But we still have to get this in vertex form, and if you'll remember from yesterday when we did this, in parentheses, okay, it's going to be x plus 6 to the second power, and then I don't forget about the 2. So that is my equation in vertex form. So when I started up here, I worked my way all the way down to here. Now, one other thing I want you to remember that I forgot to mention is up here, this b equals 6 should be b divided by 2 is equal to 6. So the difference on this vertex problem is that I have to remember about my 2 multiplying by my minus 36. So whenever there's a number in front, you're going to want to follow these steps that we did right here. And the vertex of this parabola is going to be the opposite of this plus 6, which is negative 6, and whatever this last number on the outside was, which was negative 85. And that's the things you need to know here. So the vertex of the parabola is negative 6, negative 85, and this part down here is in vertex form.